Alright, guys, I am Alexander the Vegito King, as everyone should know me from Twitter, because how the hell else are you finding me? And I'm here to just generally talk about this, global first Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black. Now, of course, it's been a very long time since we had a just any Rose Goku Black released. Of course, October 20, February 2020. I mean, this guy, he's already Easy Aid. And, we're in, 2024 now. It has been 4 years since this guy initially released on JP. And, of course, a lot of people, were expecting this guy to get an LR in last year's Worldwide Download Celebration, myself included, in that bunch. And unfortunately, that just never really came to fruition. But the real question for pretty much everyone who was looking forward to this unit is did they hit the mark with this Goku Black? And I'm sure you can tell by the thumbnail that I personally really don't think they did hit the mark. I think he was a massive miss. So obviously you've got his leader skill here, Super Bosses, which is a new category for global, but for JP it is led by the AGL LR Broly, who will be arriving to global in early July. Now that's a long time to wait, And Corroded by Your Mind, which is an absolute joke of the category, and obviously his 200% is Realm of Gods, Accelerated Battle, or Exploding Rage. Now, I feel like if the base categories were better, this could be a half decent leader skill. But like these are some very troubled categories that he's leading, and unless they get some big support, it will not be looking good. Now, of course, you've got his. Now, he is a domain character, as was surmised yesterday. By a few different people, I believe, including myself, or maybe I just kept that internally. But his domain is the city future Rift in Time. Amazing how Rift in Time future can get a different name, but Fusion Zamasu cannot. Big hand. Nope, that's just regular Fusion Zamasu here. So bosses category allies and all allies attack and defense plus 10%. But you see, that's a little weird. Oh wait, no enemies. I my Dragon Ball fan moment struck. Very horrible reading comprehension, and additional attack and defense plus 10% for characters who are also extreme class. Yeah, this can work against you, but it's like most current content is very much super class. And then you have his active skill, Time Rift of Wrath, which creates the domain. And another thing that you will notice here is creates a domain, raises category, super boss category allies key by 2, and creates the character's clones for 2 turns. And this can be activated when everyone of the turn is from the super bosses category starting from turn 4 or on turn 6 from the start of battle, which isn't a horrendous active skill condition. Of course, super bosses is in a much, much better state on JP than it is on global, which is really weird considering this is a global first and it's a character who is as widely popular as Goku Black. This was a very weird decision to make it like so like it doesn't work well on global. And of course, the transformed state is passive skill Wrath that tears through space and time, and he gets key 2 and 222% attack and defense. His attacks are effective against all types. He reduces damage received by 66% before attacking, and he randomly changes key spheres of a certain type, excluding physical, to rainbow key spheres. Now, this on its own is a good ability, of course, like decent kit, but needs a bit more baked into it. So you've got the launches an additional attack that has a rare chance. Now, rare is a 10% chance of becoming a super attack per rainbow key sphere obtained. Now, I could be wrong there. It could be a 20% chance. So, I do apologize. Yeah, I do think it is 20. Whereas, if you are familiar with JP, we got the Extreme Z Awakening just like, about a week back for the physical LR, Evolution Blue Vegeta and, Kaioken Goku, and they get a 50% chance to do an additional per rainbow key sphere, which is obviously significantly better. I understand, but it's like, this guy can do like a maximum of like 8, 9 attacks when he gets the key spheres he needs. And, he has a great chance, and everything. He launches additional, but has a great chance. So it's like he's going to be averaging around like, 2 to 3, on your worst turns. And fair enough. And when he attacks 5 times, it's like, yeah, he can look really good. I do believe we actually have some calculations, from Illus Platypus. So seventh attack, third super attack within the turn, 40% support, 80 from links, assuming a 16,000% attack is 16,000%. 16,000, sorry, attack stat. Now 17 million. Now 20 million with his domain. Now those are good numbers. Those are pretty good numbers, but simultaneously, this is a very good situation for Rose. So he's probably not going to be looking like this all the time, and I believe that his attacks can go as low as 4 million to start off the turn, and I think that's a really bad baseline. And he, of course, he does get multiplicative 33% stats, within the same turn that with each attack that he does. So obviously that's going to matter a lot. But I didn't manage to pull up the base kit for the physical Goku Black, but he has one turn of guard when he first enters the fight, and he also has like damage reduction before attacking. Now the thing is he, even with this guard and damage reduction, he's not going to be that great of a tanking like slot one right off the bat, because he's probably going to be looking at around 250,000 to 300k defense right off the bat, and maybe that might fly for like infusion Zamasu, especially because of the amount of attacks he'll be doing, but that really isn't good enough. Now, I've been incredibly hard on this release so far, and I think very fairly so. I think they absolutely have missed the mark. But I think one, saving grace is the banner for this guy. I think, it's very good for global players who otherwise would have to wait until the anniversary, and especially for these guys who I would say, are the better, the Blue Goku and Vegeta, who are the better of the two worldwide LRs, especially with the current state of content and everything. It is good that global players now no longer have to wait until mid July, like, mid to late July, to get these guys, and can get them now with coins. I personally will be getting a second dupe for these guys, because I did like 3,000 stones on their initial banner and I only got 2 copies. So I think in terms of a banner, it's very good, at least from the first 2 to 3. I think this guy, I don't even think he's horrendous, but simultaneously his design does conflict with that of the AGLLR Broly that released on JP, who transforms via his domain, and he also works against the unit right next to him, the Fusion Zamasu, who you'd want to run with him, because if you get his domain out, you can't get Infinite Zamasu out, and that really hurts Zamasu's performance very noticeably and very largely. Another thing to think of is that this domain transforms Goku Black into this for 4 turns. So it's not even like this is a permanent transformation. He de-transforms back into the base, once that domain has ended. And it's like, yeah, then you can transform like, your Broly or your Zamasu. But I feel like at that point it's too little too late, and you've probably already died because, yeah, yeah, it's like that point, they are just dead. Either you've won, or the significantly more likely scenario, a boss has killed you because you're just certain units on your team were held back because Rose is a very greedy unit, and I think at his best he can look really good, and I think on JP he would honestly look like not great, but he'd be good. But unfortunately, he's a global first release, so we don't really know when JP is going to get him. They could get him they could get him at this like right after anniversary at the start of March, or they could get him, you know, in 3 months from now at any point. And I think it's just very disappointing that a character like Goku Black, which so many people have been waiting so long for, even longer than I was waiting between STR Super Vegito slash Physical Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, and of course AGL Vegito Blue. They've been waiting, even longer. And the units, like, this is like such a disappointment of a unit. I also think his super attack animations are very subpar. I don't think they're horrible, but I do think they are pretty subpar. I think this is pretty much a pointless release. I don't see a team where he's massively helpful to a point where it's like a must summon or anything like that. I think for global players, if you don't have coins, it's probably a really good idea to get at least a copy of these guys, or just like anyone, because these guys are like kind of, yeah, 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 it's a very good idea for you to get at least like one copy of the worldwide LRs if you want them or didn't get them. And honestly, if you have like, if you are a massive Goku Black fan, which a lot of people are, it's not the worst idea to summon on it. One unfortunate thing is, given that we saw the banner, it does not look like he has a banner unit. So honestly, a Zamasu Goku could have really helped. Maybe, a guard damage reduction one, an orb changer, maybe all three of them wrapped into one, and I think that could have really helped. But no, this Goku Black is a really big disappointment, from my personal perspective. And yeah, I think Omatsu definitely missed the mark, and I think he combined his hate of physical units and extreme class, and this is the byproduct of this in my opinion, absolute fumble of a unit. I do hope that a new Goku Black, preferably an LR, isn't too far away for JP and Global, because we are syncing during the upcoming worldwide download celebration, which is honestly very quickly approaching, despite us being like 7 months away. That time will, breeze by. And until then, I hope people that for some reason summon for this guy have what little fun they can out of using him. Because, oh my goodness, I do not think he is that good. But yeah, comment your thoughts down below. Do you think he's good? Do you think Amatsu? Do you think Amatsu fumbled? How do you think he compares to what we've seen of 2024 Dokkan so far? Leave all that and just your general thoughts in the comments down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully, not in 4 months from now. But that's all. See you.